AI, there are certain things AI can do, and I'll just list you a few. So they talked about emotional intelligence, they talked about creativity and innovation, cultural fit and values alignment, critical thinking and problem solving, adaptability and lifelong learning, leadership and vision. And the overall position is, look, these are human skills, and no matter what you do with AI, they're not, it's not able to take over those aspects. And as we think about these various, they are soft skills, yes? And as we think about them, you can think about individuals that you have worked with in organizations, and particularly leaders. Very often, those are the skills. When we talk about a good leader, those are some of the things that we talk about. Um, somebody being able to lead a team, um, or somebody being able to make some decisions. Is the person capable of doing that? And so the argument is that AI is not able to take care of those. So we are left with the need for this range of soft skills. And if we look a little closer at the research that has been done, we will know that different organizations have an emphasis on different things, but overall they converge, and the big label we can put on them is soft skills. So the question is, what do we, when we talk about soft skills, what are we referring to? So the question was there earlier. Does anybody want to put in the chat what you think? I mean, I've been listing a few, but in your estimation, what do you think soft skills are? Anyone? Okay. Right, I've got some examples here. Leadership, creative thinking, any other? Thank you for those. Any more? So if we just put the slide up on that, we have a definition for soft skills.
There's a hand, Paulette, by Andile.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think soft skills are not the obvious skills. They're not skills that are taught in the classroom. They can be developed, yes, but they are not very obvious. So it would be sort of insightful skills that you develop through your interaction with other people, or seeing how your mother interacts with people, or your father interacts with the community, or even friends, or even mentors, how they interact with other people. So these are the skills that are not obvious to the naked eye or to even yourself.
Okay. Thank you for that. So do you believe, and not necessarily the person who just answered, but anyone, do you believe, so we're actually, I said earlier that these are human and interpersonal skills. So do you believe that, let's say you had a performance management assessment and your boss says, listen, I think your soft skills need to be looked at. Do you think anything could be done about that? Anyone? Okay. So I'd like us to look at, I've just listed all these skills that one researcher pointed out that as humans we have, and we could have them to varying varying degrees depending on our exposure, as one participant just mentioned that, if we had a parent who was a particular way because that's our primary induction sort of to the world, and depending on our exposure and influence, the family, of course, there's a school part of it where people also go to school and they learn certain and exposed to certain behavior, and which they actually adopt, or depending on this, if the influence at home is higher, and it's not something that a parent wishes to be demonstrated, of course, you may have to do something about it. But so one suggestion is that we need to shift the paradigm. And that paradigm, we could talk about recruitment, in organizations, the way we recruit people, where we hire. There could be, instead of relying solely on resumes and interviews, we could up the ante and have what you call behavioral interviews. So we dive deeper than just the technical skills. And having worked in HR for over 25 years, I could see, especially if a manager is very technical, the person is likely to look at, I want this particular profile. And when you look at some of the job descriptions, they're very, very highly technical. But with the coming of AI and the shift in, the emphasis is more, okay, AI is going to take some jobs, take some aspects of the job, and with the emphasis now more on your interpersonal, and part of that interpersonal has to do with one expert has talked about the ethics of the AI itself, because with generative AI, you could actually produce lots of documents, and the question is, will you say that document is your document, that you actually wrote it? So among all the other soft skills that have, and these have been hanging around for a long time, but with the emphasis on the need to have them developed, the idea is, should we also be looking more strongly at ethics, leadership? How does a leader get his staff to, or her staff to behave, to demonstrate certain behaviors that fit the organizational culture, that will help to determine best results? Yes. So we talk also about shifting the paradigm. And for a long time, assessment tools have been around. Some organizations are adopting that approach more and more, because we're actually saying that a tool, a psychometric assessment, it's not so much influenced by our prejudices and our belief system, but this is something set up which could give you a better assessment of an individual. And for those of us, again, who have had managers who, tend to be pretty much on the subjective side, we could appreciate the importance of having some of these tools used. And we talk about collaborative tasks, the use of group activities that allow for evaluation of teamwork, communication, and leadership potential. And there are some other approaches that we could use, which is mentoring and coaching. We could embark on a path of continual learning. Again, this morning that came up that with AI, there is going to be the need for continuous learning. So where are you on that continuum? Are you just, okay, I have my technical skills, this is what I'm going to work with, and that's it. And some of it too is unlearning, and there are strategies for unlearning behaviors that are not productive, or behaviors that will not get you the positive results in your organization, and relearning. Okay. So next thing I'd like to look at is coaching. Yes. Do we have a poll, or we have a poll, right? So the question is anybody willing to put in the chat what you think coaching is? And I'm now getting to the section where I'm talking about what Bridge Excellence International could offer in terms of helping individuals and organizations to a little bit more detailed. So what is coaching? How can coaching interact with soft skills? Anyone? Can you put in the chat, or if you wish to just say something, we're open to any of those approaches. Okay. So let's go to our slide where we try to provide some definition and a model. So here I tried to provide a definition. That is the process of partnering with clients in a thought-provoking, inquiry-based process. The client chooses the focus of conversation and benefits from the coach employing coaching competencies in a confidential relationship within a formal coaching agreement to help the client move forward with their most important self-selected goals. Quite a mouthful, isn't it? We talk about process, we talk about partnering with, we talk about something which is thought-provoking, which makes you think, inquiry-based. And those of you who are in the coaching field space, we understand that there are particular questions that you would pose to a client, formulated in a particular way so that you elicit certain responses, because the whole idea is trying to create an awareness in your client in helping him or her to deal with whatever challenges. And it doesn't have to be a challenge. It could be somebody's doing well and wants to do even better, but you're actually taking them through the journey to get to that new level that they want to get to. And we talk about coaching competencies. Those are quite specific, that a coach is required to be trained and should have certain competencies that helps his or her client to grow and to develop. And it talks about a confidential relationship. So the whole idea is, I'm not going to talk to Wendy today, and tomorrow when I meet one of her friends, I start telling her, these are the things that I've discovered about Wendy in the coaching relationship that we have had. Yes. And we talk about formal coaching agreement, which is that there must be an agreement between the coach and his or her client to say, what is it the intervention is about, and what are the long-term objectives. And we also have within this approach, which I will show you in a few minutes, that you have an agreement for long-term overall, but you also have an agreement during a specific session. What are we going to talk about today? And what do you hope to achieve at the end of the session? A session could be an hour, a session could be 45 minutes, but all of that is determined in the agreement. And we talk about moving the client forward, and it means not not necessarily physical.